Here's a thought experiment for you. What if I told you the biggest financial trap you'll ever face isn't credit cards, payday loans, or Wall Street scams? It's the very system you live in. Think about it. You spend your entire life working for money, paying taxes, trying to save, maybe even investing a little. And yet, no matter how hard you work, it feels like you're just running on a treadmill. The bills keep coming, the cost of living keeps rising, and real financial freedom always feels just out of reach. That's not an accident. That's the design. Governments aren't evil masterminds sitting in dark rooms plotting your downfall, but they do have one job above all: keep the machine running. And that machine only works if you keep working, keep spending, and keep paying. Which means the financial system isn't built to make you rich, it's built to keep you predictable. And once you start seeing the patterns, once you understand how the game is actually played, it becomes painfully clear why so many hardworking people never get ahead. Let's break it down. The first and arguably most powerful trick is inflation by design. Most people think inflation is just bad luck, that prices rise because of random events. But the truth is far more deliberate. Inflation is a policy. Governments and central banks create it on purpose. Here's how it works. When governments spend more money than they collect in taxes, they have two choices: raise taxes or create new money. Raising taxes gets politicians voted out. Creating new money, that's invisible. You don't feel it right away. Instead, your dollars just buy a little less every year. This is why inflation is called the hidden tax. You don't get a bill in the mail saying, "Hey, we just took 8% of your savings." But that's exactly what happened when prices went up 8% last year. And here's the kicker: inflation punishes savers and rewards debtors. The rich and the government are the biggest debtors on the planet. Every time the dollar gets weaker, their debts get easier to repay. Meanwhile, the middle class watches its savings slowly evaporate. That's trick number one. Trick number two: tax complexity. The tax code is thousands of pages long for a reason. Confusion keeps you compliant. Most people have no idea what deductions they qualify for, how to optimize their income, or how to legally pay less. So they just accept whatever their tax software tells them to pay. Meanwhile, the wealthy use that same complexity as a weapon. They hire accountants and lawyers who know every loophole, every incentive, every legal way to pay almost nothing. In fact, some of the world's richest billionaires legally pay a lower effective tax rate than the average nurse or truck driver. Because here's the secret: the tax code isn't just about collecting money, it's about influencing behavior. It punishes employees and rewards investors. It penalizes spending but subsidizes owning businesses and assets. And if you don't know the rules, you're playing blindfolded while everyone else is stacking chips. If inflation and tax complexity are the first moves in this game, the next one is even more subtle: debt dependency. Debt is the lifeblood of the modern economy. Most people think debt is just something you owe, but to governments, it's a tool of control. They want you in debt because debt keeps you working. Think about it. When you graduate with student loans, buy a car with financing, take on a mortgage, you're not just paying for things, you're locking yourself into decades of predictable payments. That predictability is what keeps the system running. Governments know this, which is why they encourage borrowing at every turn: tax breaks for mortgages, subsidized student loans, low interest rates that make borrowing feel cheap. The goal is to keep you consuming, keep you chasing, keep you tied to the system. And the result? You spend the most productive years of your life working to pay off interest that flows straight to banks, which are some of the most powerful institutions on earth. But it doesn't stop there. There's also monetary manipulation, the constant cycle of stimulus, bailouts, and rate changes that control the flow of money. When the economy slows down, central banks print money and slash interest rates to make borrowing cheap. Asset prices, stocks, real estate, even businesses, skyrocket. The wealthy get richer because they own those assets. Then, when inflation gets too high, they raise rates. Suddenly, borrowing becomes expensive, credit card balances grow, mortgages get painful.
The average person tightens their belt while asset owners can just wait it out. It's a wealth transfer in slow motion. But perhaps the most powerful trick of all is psychological manipulation. Governments and institutions don't just control money, they control the narrative about money. You're told to work hard, say what you can, and trust the system. You're told the stock market always goes up in the long run. You're told that home ownership is the ultimate sign of financial success. These messages aren't random. They keep you in line. They make sure you keep feeding the system, paying taxes, paying interest, buying things you don't need, all while feeling like you're doing the responsible thing. And when people do start to question it, the system gives them just enough relief to calm them down. A stimulus check here, a temporary tax credit there. Just enough to make you feel like someone is looking out for you, when in reality, the game hasn't changed at all. So, where does that leave you? Here's the good news. Once you see the game, you can start playing it differently. You can flip the script. Instead of letting inflation eat your savings, you can put your money into assets that grow faster than inflation. Stocks, real estate, even businesses. Instead of drowning in debt, you can use debt strategically, borrowing for things that generate cash flow, not just things that lose value. Instead of blindly paying whatever tax software tells you, you can learn the rules, how to take deductions, how to legally lower your tax bill, how to use the system the way the wealthy do. And most importantly, you can break free from the paycheck to paycheck mindset. You can start thinking like an owner instead of just a worker. Because the truth is, governments will always run this playbook. Inflation isn't going away. Taxes aren't getting simpler. Debt will always be pushed on you. But you don't have to be the victim of it.